So thanks for coming out again today, and I'm going to carry on from where Dale left off. I hope you can all hear me properly. I'm going to make it different today, so we'll do something different. I'm going to start with questioning you, because you seem to be asking me a lot of questions. Now, I'm going to make it very simple and ask, it's a matter of, can anyone tell me what the reason for this thing is, for instance? What the reason is, or the purpose of it?
Sorry?
Commit fraud.
Yeah? How about this one? This thing here.
Research.
Does anybody know what the reason is for it?
Control. Research. Communicate.
Yeah, this one?
Broadcast. Hearing. Sound.
Yeah, this one? Yeah. How about this one? Does anybody know what his purpose is, what his reason is?
Divine.
So that's the whole point. Everything in this plane has got a reason or a purpose,
Yes.
you see, except that most people don't know what their purpose is, and yet they are greater than that. So if you don't know what your purpose is, or if you don't know what you're doing, then it's very hard to do it. That's why we come from a metaphysical approach, so we teach ourselves who we are before we start messing with these idiots. So that's what they are. So we spend most time trying to advance ourselves spiritually, and then these things fall into place without any work. So I don't have to work to learn all this legal stuff, it just comes by itself. So we have a whole bunch of information which we're going to share with you today. And I'm going to do how to deal with our friends, who are the police constables and the police officers. So we're going to go through that list. Now, before I start, does anyone have any questions so I can answer them now? And hopefully you're going to let me finish my talk, and then at the end we'll have another Q&A. So if there's any pressing question before I begin, could you please have it now, and then we can carry on.
There's an echo on the speaker.
There's an echo on the speaker.
Yes.
There we go.
Hey.
That bit's
Yeah, can you hear me now? Turn it off? Can you hear me still? Is it better? Yeah. Okay. So I don't have a big voice, so I'm not a singer. I'll try and train. I'm not a speaker anyway. This is outside my zone. I'm an artist and a writer. So I spend all my time alone, so I don't do public speaking. This is trying to give information, so I'm trying my best. So if I'm not a good public speaker, I hope you forgive me. It's not my field. I can draw things and I can write things. Okay?
How can you determine police officer or police constable?
That's the topic of today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get dealt with.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other question? No questions? Right, so I'm going to start with, we have this going around anyway. So if anyone's interested in it, I have two left. So what I do is, two talks left. I'm going to go through it and just explain initially what the difference is between legal and lawful, so that you know the difference when the officer comes and claims to be a constable, or the constable comes and claims to be an officer. That is the difference. So I'll start with number one, which I have. Just give me a minute. Okay, so lawful and legal. A general is talking about what's the difference between a constable and an officer, and that's what it is. A constable is lawful, and an officer is legal. So I'm going to start from the beginning. Lawful is something that is in accord with the spirit of the law. I think we discussed this last time. And legal is in discord with the law, and it focuses only on procedure. Right, so that's the entire game. Whereas lawful focuses on the spirit of the law, legal is about procedure. So when these morons abuse their position and you try to sue them, their colleagues in their fake courts ask them, did you follow procedure? And he says yes. And that's how you lose the case. So whether or not you follow the law, it doesn't matter, as long as he followed procedure. And that's the whole trick, for them to prove that they follow procedure. But they don't follow the procedures anyway. They saw the rubbish. So that's the second one is police constable. That's right. Then you have on the other side a police officer, or what we call a policy enforcer, who operates by force and duress, and we don't know who created these people. Some people say they're created by the archons, whoever the archons are, but that's who they are. So that's the difference between a constable and an officer. A constable acts within the law, is a peace officer. A police officer is a policy enforcer. So they're enforcing policies of private corporations on living people. That's the difference, right? The police constable supposedly is supposed to act under the common law of the land, known as England and Wales. The police officer operates under the statutory rules and regulations of mercantile versus admiralty jurisdiction. It's color of law, it's not law. So you have common law of the land, known as England and Wales, then you have color of law under the statutes of the Crown Corporation of the City of London. That's the difference, okay? Now, for police constable to become active, there has to be a breach of the peace. So somebody has to do something, you have to commit a crime. So the breach of the peace is either physical violence or threats of violence, or even fraud is a breach of the peace. So when you commit these acts, then the constable, he comes into force, into action. With the other side, you don't have to do anything. They approach you either through front mail, or they're going to approach you physically and establish contact with you. What they want to do is to create an implied agreement, that's all. So that's the difference between officer and a constable. A constable will wait for you to breach the peace before they interact with you or interfere with you. Corporate police enforcer will interfere with you anyway. They're going to write you a letter, will come and talk to you, try and get an implied contract. That's the difference, right? Now, under the lawful umbrella, under the common law, the duty of care towards the living man in this instance is a woman as well. It's just a man because God created man, but man includes woman. In the legal fiction world, man is man and woman. So the duty of care towards every man and woman is an obligation, is a duty, you see. So every time you ask them to do something, and they don't do it, that's a breach of a duty of care. And you can sue them for professional negligence, because their whole purpose is to protect your rights. That's why the police are there. That's all. On the other side, the exercise of statutory power is discretionary. That's what they call a power. It's not a duty. Under the common law, a constable has a duty. It's an obligation, duty of care towards the people. On the statutory side, it's a power. But because it's a power, it's not a duty. It doesn't have a job to arrest you if you haven't breached the peace, you see. So it's discretionary. That's why they choose who they mess with. Because they can choose, it's discretionary. I can look at you and say, oh, he doesn't know anything about contracts. Let me go and ask him, where are you going? What's your name? And if he doesn't know, he's going to say this thing, then he's going to give you this thing. That's the implied contract. However, if he knows, he's going to ask you, are you acting under your oath, Mr. Officer or Mr. Constable? And if it's yes, then am I being detained? If it's yes, then under what law do you detain me? You see, is it common law or statutory law? If it's common law, there's a requirement for a breach of the peace. If it's statutory law, they're going to quote some pace nonsense and talk about their acts. In that case, you let them know that act doesn't apply to you unless they have proof that it applies to you. Acts, by the way, apply on corporate citizens only. So you need to be a corporate citizen for any act of parliament or any of this act of this nonsense to apply to you. This is acting is just that. It's the spell and it's the words. It's in front of you, it's acting. That's why they have to wear costumes and go to the venues and act. They're not being real, you see, because that's not who they are when they're with their friends and families. They're acting, you see. So they go in front of a mirror, put on a costume, and then act in a role. And it's all about an act, okay? So, under the common law, when you're being lawful, you're innocent until you're proven culpable. Under the legal fiction world, you're guilty until proven not guilty. So there's a negative condition always. They always want to put you in a negative condition because you cannot prove any of this not guilty business. We don't do nots, we do positive, you see. So it's either I'm innocent or I'm culpable. Guilty is geld. Geld is money. It's also the bar guild, you see. So you're talking about, could you plead? Are you guilty or not guilty? It simply means that you accept that you're a member of the bar guild and that their rules apply on you, whether you plead guilty or not guilty. The fact that you're talking about this guilty business means that you accept that you're a member of the bar guild and then their rules apply on you. They can fine you in their stupid fake courts and they impose all this nonsense on you see. So, number 7, the constable he acts in honor, put it like that. The constable acts in honor. When you see a police constable, you have a sense of assurance and security. In the old days, I think it's 10% now who are constables and 90% are officers. But in the old days, you used to have constables around, people who you knew them as well. They walk down the street and you could talk to them. And they're friendly people, and they're honorable people. And when you saw these people in your community, you felt safe. These idiots nowadays, when you see them, you have a sense of dread, you know they're going to cause trouble, and you don't want to deal with them. That's the difference between honor and dishonor. So what we call today, we call them the Bacon Boys in Black. They're the new Hitler Youth, right? Because they're taking orders. The new Hitler Youth take orders. A police constable cannot be ordered to do anything, you see, because they have to use their discretion when they conduct arrests. These people are being ordered, they're called the new Hitler Youth. The boys in black, the Bacon Boys in Black, are the ones in black who operate without any oath or warrant. And that's what it is. So when someone is operating without oath or warrant, they're as good as me. They're not a real police constable, they're nothing. They cannot conduct an arrest. So every arrest they conduct under statutes, right, that's a breach of their oath, straight away. Okay, so, however, 90% of these idiots are doing that now. They have no oath and no warrant. And I'm going to show you some of the statements in a minute to prove that. They're full of shit, okay? They have no authority whatsoever, and I'm going to show you what they say anyway. So, the police constable, they would act under Her Majesty the Queen, Elizabeth II of the House of Windsor, or Mountbatten, or whatever they call themselves, okay? So that's the oath they take. And the oath goes, I do solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will well and truly serve the Queen in the office of constable. It says, with fairness, integrity, diligence, and impartiality, upholding fundamental human rights. Remember, this is a legal fiction world. In our world, the commercial world, we don't use human rights because human is a monster in the legal fiction world. But I know a lot of people are still involved in this nonsense, so we're going to give you that. You can use human rights to defend yourself. Okay? So he says that they're going to respect, uphold fundamental human rights, and according equal respect to all people. They don't do that. And I will, to the best of my power, right? The best of the power, the discretion, the best of my power, cause the peace to be kept, right? And preserved and prevent all offenses against people and property. And that while I continue to hold the same office, I will, to the best of my skill and knowledge, discharge all the duties thereof faithfully according to law. Now, according to law, what law? According to the common law of the land known as England and Wales. That's it, you see. So they're taking an oath to defend the common law of the land. So what are they doing, imposing statutes on people? You see, they've breached their oath, and that's where the authority finishes. So the only way they can do it is to get the implied agreement. You see, that's how they do it, right? So, I'm going to give you some solutions of how to make a complaint. I'd say there's two things you can do when these idiots come and violate your rights. You can either make a complaint or a claim. Right now, most people are making complaints. So we're going to show you how to do it properly. You can make, it's like a tribeca, it's three-pronged attack that you can do to these fools every time they commit act against you. So you can sue them criminally, you can do a private prosecution, you can sue them civilly, you can sue them commercially. You can file all three claims in all different courts on the same day, on the same matter. You're allowed to do that. Except drafting three claims takes a lot of time, and most people don't do that. That's the only thing. We don't have time to do it. But for every infraction, you have three ways you can hit them. We only go for the civil side most of the time, and you're going to sue them in their own courts as well. You're going to lose because they don't recognize you, because you're not an officer of the court. You haven't taken an oath to screw the rest of the people in the country. That's what it is. So if you take an oath that you're going to screw the rest of the people in the country, they'll give you a good job. They'll call you a district judge or wherever they're going to call you. They're going to give you a pedestal. It's going to be your own court, and you can run your stuff in there. Because that venue is private. That's why they say to get out of my court. It means that. That is his court. And he cannot hear you. You can argue as much as you want. It's his court. All right? That's the trick. That's the game. So the police are not honoring their oath. Some of them don't even know they're supposed to act under oath. Some of them have never heard of the common law of the land known as England and Wales. And yet they're wearing uniforms and driving vans and pretending that they're constables or officers and that they know something about the law. What I'm saying to you is that you're dealing with people who know nothing about the law. You're dealing with what I call idiots. These people are morons, right? they have absolutely, sorry. Yeah, what's in mind?
Now.
Right, yeah, so you're gonna start with the complaint. So today I'm gonna be, if you need to complain about this, what do you call them? We need a name for them, I don't know. What should we call these people?
Just call them pseudo servants.
Citizens. Right, if you're gonna see legal fiction work, most of us live in that world where we believe that these people act under some sort of law. Okay, there's a complaints procedure. So for anyone who's interested about complaining about these fools, I'm going to give you some numbers that you can use, because in their world, they like numbers. If you don't use these numbers, they tend to ignore you. So you have to use them. So there's something called Police Reform Act of 2002. That's the one you quote when you do your complaints. And the section is section 12, and it's going to be subsection 1, and it's A to C. And it says, the three groups that can complain about the conduct, is always about conduct of a person, it's a legal fiction, serving with the police are members of the public who are, one, victims, so someone who's been victimized, but the police can make a complaint. Number two, a witness to the conduct. So I don't have to be a victim. If I see the police attacking him, I can make the complaint on his behalf. And the third one is anyone who's adversely affected by the conduct, you see. So I can see police attack someone, and if I feel that I'm upset by that, I can make a complaint. So everyone here is a ground complaint. And the complaint, that's the number. Section 12, subsection 1, A to C. So when you do a complaint, you say, I'm making this complaint pursuant to section 12, blah, blah, blah. On this day, I saw this police officer attack this man outside this building, and I'd like to make a complaint. So that's the one that you use. So use that all the time, whether you're making a complaint yourself as a victim or on behalf of somebody else. If you don't use these numbers, they tend to ignore you. They say it's a purported complaint. It's not a real complaint, it's a purported complaint. That's the entire game. It's about purporting things. That's all they do. Presumptions and purportings. All their documents are invalid. But because in the legal fiction world you're allowed to purport things, they purport them to be valid. If you don't object to it, it stands. It's a stupid game, but that's what it is, right? Okay, so the next one is the Police Reform Act, Section 12, 1D and 6B. Someone can act on behalf of the complainant if they have been given written authority to do so. So if you feel that you have a complaint against these idiots and you don't have the time or the resource to do it, all you have to do is write a note and say, I give you the authority to write a complaint on my behalf, and give it to your friend or somebody you know, and then they can drop the complaint on your behalf under that section, and they can serve it on them. All right? So it's not just the victim. Anyone, any member of the community who is affected by the conduct of the police can do that. In fact, everyone in here today, if they're affected by the conduct of the police lately, you can put your complaints in, but make sure you use the numbers. Okay? So the Act provides that any conduct of the police, I'm reading this straight from their literature, which has an adverse effect on a member of the public or is sufficiently serious to bring the police into disrepute should be dealt with effectively and efficiently so that the public confidence can be maintained. That's the whole point. So when you make a complaint, you want your confidence to be maintained. Right now, I don't have any confidence in these idiots at all. I can say that. I've dealt with them for a few years. They've tried all kinds of shit with me. They've failed at every point. They've broken into my house. They've done a whole bunch of stuff. They stole my property as well. They still keep it. The reason I'm doing this is because they still give me bullshit about my property that they've had for almost 4 years, you see. So I want my property back, and they're telling me to go and collect it from, I don't know, Ellen Road. I don't know where the fuck this Ellen Road is. I'm just saying to them, I'm not going to go to any stupid Ellen Road. You come to my house, my private house, and stole my property. You're going to bring it back to my house. I'm not going to go to any fucking Ellen Road or wherever these idiots do their business. That's what it is. You're the public servant. You're going to serve me. I'm not going to serve you. That's the point. So bring back my property, shut your mouth, and F off. That's the way we do this. Okay? So that's why I'm dealing with them right now. I want my property back, and I want them to provide me with the judicial authority that allowed them to keep my property for over almost 4 years. That's all. And they're giving me discussions about pace and this and that. I don't care about that stuff. I need a piece of paper, sealed and signed and sealed from a court, signed by a judge, saying, yeah, you can keep this guy's property, private property, forever. Yeah, that's it. So that's how we're dealing with these fools, and then coming back with nothing. They're full of it. Okay? So, records. When you make a complaint, according to their own regulation, this is a complaints regulation, this is regulation number 24, okay, in their police conduct rules, right? That says officers, chief officers and police authorities in the legal fiction world, that's my wording, must keep record, they must keep records of all complaints and purported complaints, right? Made to them, every conduct matter recorded, every exercise of power or duty made, you see? So they have to record every time they exercise a duty, which is the proper way, a breach of the peace, and every time they exercise a power, which is a discretionary one under statutes, they have to record it. That's why they have something called a notebook entry. And there's two clowns who work together, and when they do their arrest or whatever, they both write a notebook entry. And when those notebook entries are compared, they're supposed to be similar, with a similar circumstance, you see. That's where it is. So they have to record everything they do. So when they come and ask you nonsense questions, ask them, are you acting under your oath? He's going to have to record that in his book. That the gentleman asked me whether I was acting under my oath, right? So then you're going to put him on that, were you acting under your oath or not? If you were not, then you cannot arrest me, and the arrest was unlawful. Everything they do is unlawful, by the way. It's just we don't have time to mess around with them, you see. But everything they do is unlawful, right? As long as they're acting as an officer, they're committing an unlawful act, according to the law of the land, not the law of the seas, okay? So that's to do the record. So it's regulation 24 that they must record this thing that they do, notebook entries. So every time you're arrested, they want to sue you, always ask for the notebook entries, please, okay? A verified copy of it before I proceed with this nonsense. Yep. Okay, so regulation number 14 says the police are under duty to supply, that's a sweet one, to supply a copy of the record made of the complaint to the complainant and the officer complained about. So when you make a complaint, they serve you a record of it, and whoever police enforcer you are complaining against, he gets a copy as well. Right? So that's rule number, regulation 14. So that'll be a sweet one. Let them know that under regulation 14, I'm going to make a request that you serve me a copy of my complaint, and then you're going to keep that on your records. They're supposed to come back to you within 28 days. If they don't, you send a copy and say, what's going on? According to your own regulation, you're supposed to deal with this within 28 days. What's going on? I need your proof that you arrested me lawfully. Otherwise, I'm going to claim compensation. Straightforward. Okay? So we're going to go to same one, Police Reform Act 2002. That's Schedule 3. And it's paragraph 3, subsection 3. It says, in any situation where the police authority or chief officer has declined or failed to notify or record the whole or part of the complaint, then the complainant must be told of this and the grounds for it, right? And informed of the right to appeal against that decision. That is Schedule 3, paragraph 3, subsection 3. So use that all the time. So you're going to make a complaint and ask them for a record of the copy. And if they don't, you're going to say, what's going on according to your stupid little rules? Because remember, these are idiots who operate under rules and regulations because they can't think for themselves. We operate under the law. Remember, rules are not law. But when you deal with children or people of low intelligence and low vibration, you have to give them rules. Because if they don't have rules, they go crazy. They cannot control themselves. So they have to be ruled. However, lawful people, nobody needs to tell you what to do. You know right from wrong. Simple. So that's the difference. With these morons, you gotta give them the rule. This rule says you have to do that. And then he's gonna act. If you don't give him the rule, he doesn't know what you're talking about. So you have to, these are the commands of his computer brain, because they're automatons. They don't process the information similar with you. They use commands and words and orders. So these are the commands and orders to make their computer brain work. Is, oh, regulation number 23. And then, now they know, oh yeah, that's what it is. But if you talk about the law, or don't harm me, he doesn't know what you're talking about. Okay, so these are automatons. Right, appeals. So we've done the complaint, we've done the recording, and if they keep messing around, there's an appeal as well. So the legal fiction world gives you another right to appeal, and this is called something called IPCC. All right? Independent. Excuse me. Something just. Yeah. Independent, right. Anyway, independent, right. Something changed a few years ago. They used to be independent. Now, when it says, if you make a complaint to these guys, what they do, they're going to send the complaint to the constabulary which you complain about. So how does that work? Someone's going to rape you, And then you're gonna complain to the rapist, the guy who did it. That, oh, could you please resolve it for me? So anyway, that's the route. So if you wish to complain, you have an avenue of complaint to the IPCC, right? In relation to decisions, this is it, by the chief conman not to record complaints, right? So if the chief conman does not record a complaint, then you go to the IPCC and you use that rule. It's not a rule, it's just provision. So you say, hang on a second, the chief conman has refused to record my complaint. So what's going on? The IPCC is going to ask him why he refused to record it. So there's an avenue there. Right, but I just read what it says. It's what it says. Under the provision of the Police Act of 1996, which they amended into the Police Reform Act of 2002, it says, failure or refusal to record a complaint was a major source of concern from complainants and from observers. And there was no redress, you see. And then the new system, which is the 2002 one, places a duty, because duty is obligation, so the duty on the chief conman or police authority, as the case may be, to advise the complainant of the reason for not recording the complaint and for his rights to appeal to the commission against the decision, right? So when you do your complaint, it's going to get to a point where the truth and facts of your case will disappear. And you just deal with the complaint. And you can get remedy through that way. So you're going to get remedy through the failure of the chief conman to register your complaint, instead of the fact that they abused your position. It's easier getting it that way because you have the numbers than trying to prove that they acted unlawfully. It's easier to prove that they failed to register a complaint, you see, and then you claim your compensation that way. If you're going to sue them for everything else, and you're going to sue them in their own venues, you're going to lose your case all the time. We've been to these venues many times, and I can tell you a whole bunch of stories. We'll save a whole day for that. But yeah, there's a lot of fraud and nonsense going on in there. And the good thing is that they're very scared right now, because a lot of people are waking up and they realize that these guys are bogus. And every time we go in there, we ask them simple questions and they go crazy. Yeah. It goes to the point where, excuse me, Your Honor, what's your name, please? And then, I don't have to tell you my name. Yeah, I think you'll find that you do. Yeah, and they go crazy. And they call the security, private security, by the way, and they try and harass you. The point is this: we explain to these stupid little boys this. We're not afraid of your handcuffs. We're not afraid of your vans or your prisons or your cells or anything. We are for a fight. I wish it was a fair fight because we kick their ass. We kick their ass on paper. Yeah. Well, they have weapons of death and destruction, so you cannot fight with them on that level, you see. So you're going to kick their ass on paper anyway. But that's where they live, the legal fiction. All the existence is here, you see. But they're full of nonsense. It's about people just getting enough courage. For the men, I don't know what happens to the women. When I began this, I remember somebody saying that, don't be afraid, just go and do it. And I did it. He said to me, the only thing that will happen to you is this. You're going to grow big round balls. That's the only thing that's going to happen. And it's true. Once you do once or twice, you just become brave and you carry on. You see? So don't be afraid. It's about fear. It's about you anyway. It's not about them. It's about you as a man. Are you willing to stand up for your rights? And that is it. It's meant to be done. So it's about inner work. Are you going to allow another man to bully you? Are you going to allow another man to say that they can create laws to rule over you? It doesn't exist. The first maximum of law. No man can create a law to rule over another man. That's the first maximum of law. Why? Because all men are created equal. So where do they get the nerve to think that they can create a law to rule over another man without consent? You see, that's the game. Okay. So appeals, you can appeal to the IPCC if you want. Good luck. IPCC, this is one of the guidelines. You can get this on the website. An IPCC guideline recognizes that this is the wording. Public confidence in the police is crucial in a system that rests on the principle of policing by consent. Public confidence in the police depends on the police demonstrating the highest level of personal and professional standards of behavior. That's IPCC from their website, from their own leadership, right? So if you're caught up in this legal fiction world, then you have the avenue where you can make a complaint to the IPCC if the chief conman doesn't resolve the issues. Okay? Now, another one to look at is the Code of Conduct for Law Enforcement Officials as adopted by the General Assembly, and this is Resolution 34/169 of 17 December 1979. That's a good one, and it gives you a whole bunch of stuff that you can work on. Look at Article 1, 2, and 7. Article 1 says law enforcement official shall at all times fulfill the duty It's a duty, it's not the discretionary power anymore. They shall fulfill the duties imposed upon them as well. It's an imposition. A duty imposed upon them by law. That's what it says. So they have a duty imposed upon them by law. What is the law? The law is the common law of the land, known as England and Wales. That's it. That's the law. There's nothing else, right? So these police constables have been, they have a duty imposed upon them, right? And it says by serving the community and by protecting all persons. That's the second bit, right? Serving the community. Remember, they have two roles. Serving the community, the police constable, and protecting all persons is a police officer, because persons are legal fiction. But they put the same wording in the same sentence, and that's how they structure the documents, so they have a way to play both sides. So when we read these documents, we can see what they're doing, because we know the wording, the way it's structured, because we do spelling as well. We know how to move words around and create certain emotions in people, you see. So that's how it's worded. And by protecting all persons against illegal acts. Right, so number one, by serving the community, common law, and by protecting all persons against illegal acts, statutory law, okay, consistent with the high degree of responsibility required, it's a requirement, by their profession. That's what Article 1 says, right? Article 2 is the performance of the duty. Law enforcement officials shall respect and protect human dignity, that's common law, and maintain and uphold the human rights of all persons. Right. What the hell are they doing? Are they upholding your human rights? Are they treating you with dignity or respect? So they're supposed to be serving you, these morons. Who are they serving though? If they're not serving you, who are they serving? Okay? So, and then Article 7, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I won't go into. You can get that on the website. That's the General Assembly Resolution 34/169, and it's December of 1979. If you go to the website, you're gonna see a whole bunch of stuff from there. Probably small, you have to maximize that a little bit to get to this specific one. But it's all there if you ever need it, because international law or international treaties will trump any domestic statutes. That's what it is. International treaties like the UN Convention, because UN is supposed to be the big boy, and then they control the little countries, and the little countries control the municipalities, but that's the UN is supposed to be the big boy. So anything that UN does as a superior body has to trickle down to the inferior bodies. Okay, so that's the UN resolution. And then Article 7, law enforcement officials shall not commit any act of corruption. Right. Right. They shall also rigor, can't say this word, rigor, English. I created the English language in the original state, but I'm not English right now, so rigorously takes me a minute to say. English is my third language, so I'm still learning. Rigorously oppose and combat all acts of corruption. That's what he said. Right, an act of corruption, in the same way as any other abuse of authority, is incompatible with the profession of law enforcement official. That's what it says. The law must be enforced fully with respect to any law enforcement official who commits an act of corruption, as government cannot expect to enforce the law among the citizens if they cannot or will not enforce the law against their own agents and within their agencies. That's what the convention said, right? So we need to hold them. Every time they abuse their rights, you're supposed to chase them down and make sure they are held liable. The fact that we don't do this, now they're comfortable now. Now they're going around killing people, raping people, stealing property, and everything they knew. Now no one's going to do anything. Why? Because they expect you to take your claim to the fictitious court, and that's rigged, and you're going to lose anyway. So that's the entire game. So the point is this: don't get trapped in the beginning. Don't create the pretensive joinder in the first place. That's why as soon as they stop you, Mr. Whoever, excuse me, are you acting under your oath before I say anything else? Okay? Are you acting under your oath before I say anything else? And if he's not, then you don't have to speak to him. And it's as simple as that. If you think you're going to talk law and explain things to him, you're going to create a joinder of some sort, and you're going to get fined, and the case is going to carry on. So the point is to stop it at the beginning. It's a whole bunch of nonsense. Don't get involved in it. Unless you breach the peace, then he's got a duty to arrest you. Power is discretionary. He doesn't have to exercise his power on you. But because he's got targets, he's going to look around and think, he looks like he knows something, I leave him, oh, he looks like an idiot, let me try him. And then they're gonna pick on little kids, 19-year-old kids who are just innocent kids. And then they're gonna pick him up, put him in the station, take their DNA, their fingerprints, then they're criminal, and these children grow up with a complex that they're criminals. Yet they never commit a criminal act. And that ruins their lives. They're gonna go, I mean, for me, I can handle this stupid nonsense because I'm a big man. But if I was 19 and I didn't know how to conduct myself, man, I'd be stressed out with what they try to do. I've been arrested over how many times? 17, I don't know how many times.
Ridiculous.
You know. But now when they arrest me, they come in, there's no handcuffs anymore. Oh, can we go down now? Yeah, let's go. Or they open the door for me and, you know, it's like that. I don't have to fight with them anymore. You see, it's gone beyond that. But that's how stupid it gets. If it's somebody who wasn't solid, they'd be able to mess with them psychologically. They feel inferior. For me, I don't feel inferior to anyone, you see. But if it's a young kid who's been arrested at 19, even 17, and they start down to him, they're going to go throughout their life feeling inferior. They're going to have a complex and an attitude, you see. That's what they're doing to people, and that's how they destroy communities, you see. Come and mess around with the young ones. Once that's been done, these kids will never grow up normal, because they'll always have that thing on the back of their mind. That's what's being done. They're supposed to be protecting communities, and they're destroying communities. Right now, you can even hardly find any communities, because the neighborhoods have been ruined as well, because there is no community. You don't know who your neighbor is. You don't know who the guy across the road is. There's a point where you used to have communities, where people used to have the garden parties, where you go out and you know anyone in the community. I remember years ago, I don't know which Jubilee it was, the Queen thing, when they had the street party in the 80s, 70s, it'd be nice, because people knew each other, and you had a community, a sense of community. That's gone now. Now it's business. I want money. I want money from you. I want to find you all the time. I want to keep you busy with nonsense and paperwork all the time. So, away from the convention, even under the common law, so I'm going to give you a case law that you can use in the legal fiction world. And this is R versus Secretary for the Home Department, and that's an ex parte case, Pearson, and it's 1998, and it's AC 539 at 575D. And it's by Lord Brown Wilkinson. And it says there's also authority at the highest level that the common law requirement of a fair trial should not be cut down, save by express statutory words to the contrary. And that Parliament should not be presumed, because there always be presumptions, Parliament should not be presumed to have taken steps which adversely affect the legal rights of the individual, unless a statute makes it clear that this was the intention of Parliament. That's it, you see. So that's R, the Secretary for the Home Department, ex parte, Pearson, 1998. AC 539 at 575D. Lord Brown Wilkinson. Right, so in the absence of proper authority, no use of force by an official is lawful. So when they come up and say, I have a notice for your arrest, that's ridiculous. You cannot arrest anyone on notice. That's not proper authority. So if they do come and arrest you under a notice, they've committed an unlawful act. It's about you chasing them about it. You cannot be arrested under oath and warrant, which means the idiot, stupid little boy has to go to the magician's court and say that he's suspected he's committed a crime. The magician is going to give him a warrant, seal it and sign it and give it to him. He's going to show up at your door and say, listen, I have a warrant to enter your house, and this is it. That's it. That's how it's supposed to work. And I'm acting on my oath and warrant. Without that, it's all statutory, it's all implied contracts. Don't get involved in that nonsense. Turn your back, don't contract with these fools. Okay? Because they don't know what they're doing, half of them. Right? So, how do I do it? We've narrowed everything down, and we only do three things in what we do. Right? We look at charge, with everything in the charge. We look at crime, and then we look at valid cause. And it says very clearly, in the absence of proper authority, no use of force by an official is lawful. More importantly, no proceedings in law may commence without due cause. Right? So how do they commence? By writing a letter. There has to be cause. That's why sometimes we refuse for cause some letters. But there's no cause for it. You see. So you just write refuse for cause. Send it back to the without dishonor, non-assumption. Send it back to the originator. Say, I'm refusing this document. There's no reason for you to send it to me. Right? Because it's a whole bunch of nonsense. I'm not going to get involved in it. Not in those words, but you can choose to do that if you want. Okay? So, the three things that we do all the time is charge. This, I think we've done this. Have we done charge before? Well, the charge, I'm going to give you the elements. So so that you know what a true charge is and a false charge. So if somebody tries to impose a false charge on you, you know exactly it's a false charge. Right. So, charge. When you see a document that has the word charge on it, the 4 requirements are these. Number 1, account. There has to be a pre-existing account of some sort. Right? So either presumed or actual, or there has to be an account for there to be a charge. Most of your accounts are created when you're born, and it's called your birth certificate. That's the account. And then throughout your life, you create other accounts. Your driver's license accounts, your bank accounts are accounts. You create a whole bunch of accounts, and that's where the obligation, the charge can be created. So number 1 element is in charge is account. Number 2 is obligation. Number 3 is right of claim, and number 4 is jurisdiction. So if any of those elements is missing, it's called a false charge, right? And it's straightforward as that. So if I don't have proof of account, you cannot charge me. If I have no proof of obligation, how the obligation was created, what did you do to make me liable for whatever amount, then it's not a true charge. If you don't have a right to make a claim, for instance, if you claim that I owe him money, but he's coming to collect, he's got no right to claim, he's going to have the right to claim, you see. Unless he transfers power of attorney to him, in writing, say, Dad is going to collect my money for me, so when he shows up with that power of attorney, then I know, oh, fine, I'm going to pay you on his behalf, like that. But the right of claim is whoever has been injured has the right to claim and nobody else, unless they transfer power of attorney, okay? And finally, jurisdiction. So the charge has to be brought from in the right jurisdiction. A charge is commercial, but they charge you in a fictitious judicial venue or administrative venue, right? Now, when you deal with this thing, we've spoken about this before, that no truth or fact shall be heard in a court of law. So when they invite you to the fictitious venues and you start talking about, oh, I wasn't speeding, or I didn't attack the guy, or whatever, that's truth and facts. They cannot hear that nonsense. You're supposed to get on the page now. You have the script. So what you're trying to do is to establish that the charge is true before you answer it. Now, does the charge have the 4 elements? If it doesn't have the 4 elements, it's a false charge. And that's about it. You don't get into the detail of anything else. You let the magician know, Mr. Magician, it's a false charge. You know what? There is no pre-existing account, okay? Unless you can prove it. That's about it. So you don't get into the truth and facts. Or, hang on a second, I have an obligation to this guy because I don't even know him. He never gave me the service or goods or anything, so how can he charge me for anything? There is no obligation. The obligation is created when I perform something for you, or I give you a service or goods. That's the obligation. We use a restaurant analogy. If you come to my restaurant and eat, I've spent my time cooking for you, you're obligated to. That's the obligation, that's how it's created. Right of claim as well. You can use that. And say, hang on a second, Mr. Magician, the claimant has no right to bring the claim. He's not the true claimant, because he hasn't incurred any injury or loss. Whoever incurs injury or loss has a right to bring the claim, you see. So that's number 3. If they have no right to bring the claim is, the charge is false. Kill it at that level. The sweet one is jurisdiction, number 4. It's the wrong jurisdiction, Mr. Magician. You see. Yeah, because this venue, I believe, is the jurisdiction for this venue is limited to adjudicating over legal fictions and corporate fictions. Mr. Magician, it is a magician's court, isn't it? Oh, so yeah, the proper venues, if you want to deal with people, take it to Crown Court to do with crimes, or civil matters, take it to the Queen's Bench or High Court. You see, why County Court and Magician's Court, those are rubbish courts. Don't get involved in that nonsense. Those are con men. The people who inhabit those venues are people who are losers in the legal fiction world, the failures. They end up there, in the Magician's Court. The ambulance chasers looking for cases, and they're looking for people who are incompetent. Yeah, I'm going to be your solicitor. Do you want legal representation? All right, cool, come. And they get a whole bunch of money for doing this nonsense. It's about £70,000 a case. You see, and they get that off your bond, right? And you're going to lose anyway because they're not representing you. They're there to collect their fee, right? So that's charge. So always look at that. It's commercial. When you see the word charge, no, it's commercial. Deal with it within the commercial jurisdiction. Don't take it to the fake judicial, because it's not. It's not common law. It's not statutory law. It's commercial. You see, so when you go to court and you talk about common law, when they bring in a commercial claim, they can hear you because it's a wrong jurisdiction. Common law doesn't apply. If you owe me money, I just want my money. I don't care about common law. Pay me. And I'm going to take you to court and say, I want my money. When you're talking about common law, it's irrelevant. We had a contract and you breached it. So common law is not cannot help you there. So you need to know it's a commercial jurisdiction. Stick with it. It's a charge. Okay. And that's all we do as far as charges are concerned, and that's all you're going to need to do because that's all they're going to bring against you, the charge, right? Second one is crime. This one is good because a lot of people don't know what crime is. They just think because this idiot says it's a crime, it's a crime. No, it's not. You see, don't trust a magician, by the way. Okay? If you go to court, you got fake venue, and they say, oh, everything is the law, it's the law, it's the law. You see, if you go to the fake venue, magician say, here's some grease here. Go to the dock, pull down your pants, grease your ass, and bend over. And he says, well, that's the law. And some people do it because the magician said to him, that's the law. Tell him, no, I don't believe that. Prove it. It's not the law, man. You see, it's nonsense. Don't believe a magician. They're there to do exactly that. They're there to make sure you're bent over in the dock so they can do what they're going to do. So be very careful. Don't ever, ever, ever go into a dock to start with. Yeah. Right? Once you're in a dock, you're done. You're finished. Because I think we know what dock is by now. We've been here. Dock, it's a law. There's law of the land, common law of the land. Then you have the law of the seas, commercial, which is to do with maritime law, with admiralty. That's where you get the docks from, you see. Dock is at the ocean, at the sea, where you dock in your ship. The birth certificate. Doctor. What is doctors? A doctor, you need a healer. A doctor is just that. He's a dock worker. You don't want to go to a doctor. A doctor is a dangerous man. He's a dock worker. You see, that's why they practice. They don't know what they're doing. They're practicing. They're always assuming, practicing, or acting, you see. They assume office. They're assuming things, you see. So everything is in the word again. Nothing is hidden, except we see something, but we choose to see what we want to see. So I can say, I'm bringing you a charge, but you're going to say, no, it's not a charge. You're going to create your own reality. But the wording is there. When I say I'm a doctor, it means I'm a dock worker. My job is to see the ships coming in and to collect the manifests. That's what he's doing. The manifest means the record of my birth that he's going to sell to the government and then collect his pay. I think it's 1,200 now for every registration. That's how much they get paid. That's why they hassle you. Register your child now, quick. But they're getting money from it. Okay, so it's all business. So you don't want a doctor, you want a healer. A doctor is a dock worker. He's under maritime law. You don't deal with doctors. And when you go to a magician's school, please do not go in a dock. When you go into a magician's school, the first question is, excuse me, who are you? Yes, you sitting up there. Who are you? Are you acting under your public or private capacity? And they're finished. That's enough.
Get him out of my car, get him out of my car.
Yeah.
That's all you hear.
And that's a simple question as that. If they are acting with honor, then answer you. My name is John. Yeah, I'm acting under my public capacity right now. Under my judicial authority right now. Easy. He's a judge. Why is he getting all freaked out? Because you asked him whether or not he's acting public or private. Because he knows that you know what he's doing. You see. Now he's scared now. Because he might lose pension, his bond, and they go crazy. But that's what the game is. So, crime. When somebody alleges that parking on that yellow line is a crime, you need to pull him up on that. Okay? What's happening is some civil matters are being tried under criminal procedure rules.
Yeah.
That's a no-no. You cannot try civil matters under criminal procedure rules, but the traffic infractions are being tried under criminal procedure rules. That's why when you write to this conman and whoever, we ask them, fine, you're going to answer your claims, but you need to tell us whether your claim is civil or criminal. Yeah. Before I say a word, because it's different answers. If it's a civil claim, you answer it differently as you would if you were answering a criminal claim. That's all. So if they cannot identify whether their claim is criminal or civil, then you cannot proceed. You block it right there. So I'm going to stay right here until the day that you figure out whether your claim is criminal or civil, and then I'll answer your stupid questions. Otherwise, shut your mouth, public servant, and keep it moving. Hurry them up. Don't let them waste your time with this nonsense. Okay? So, crime. 3 elements. If any one of them is missing, it's not a crime. Number 1, mens rea. The mind, you have to think it. You see, so you have to think it. Oh, I'm going to be a thief today. Oops, sorry. I'm going to be a thief, and I'm going to steal. What can I steal? Oh, what's out there? I'm going to steal a car. So you have to think it. How do you steal a car? I wouldn't know how, because I'm not a thief. I don't know how people steal cars, but whoever steals a car, he knows the process. I have to wait for it. I don't know if people still break windows, or there's a wire they used to put down and pull the thing. But the point is, you have to think it. That's mens rea, number 1. Actus reus, you have to act upon your thinking. You see, so you have to plan it, or the guy's going to be there this time of night, and then you have to act upon your thinking. There's 2 elements. The third one, critical one, is the corpus delicti. which is the body of evidence. So there has to be a injured party. So if any of those elements is lacking, it's not a crime, you see. The 3.5 is that the injured party cannot just say, oh, I'm an injured party. No, they have to, the wording is they have to demonstrate the nature of their injuries in court. So it's not just a matter of saying I was injured. How were you injured? So yeah, I'm an injured party, but this is the nature of my injuries. Okay, this guy kicked me, and I was in a cast for 3 weeks. These are pictures of it, and I was hobbling around, and I can prove it. That's corpus delicta. That's the injured party. So without those three elements, it's not a crime. Okay, it's nonsense. So don't be duped by an idiot who doesn't know the law, thinking they're going to tell you about the law. The point is you have to inform the ignorant public servant. You go and learn about the law before you come and talk to me about it. You see, because that's what they're supposed to know. They're supposed to be legal officers. Yet they know nothing about the law. How can they enforce a law which they know nothing about? You see, they have to go and learn it before they can enforce it. All right? So that's to do with crime. So it's mens rea, number one. Number two is actus reus, and then number three is corpus delicta. If there's no injured party, there is no crime. When you park on a double yellow line, there is no injured party, unless it's the road that made the complaint. And so he parked on my ass too long, so the road went to the court and filled out a form and made a claim. And now you're up there against the road, and the road is standing the injured. He's got a right of claim. You parked on my double yellow line because I'm the road and I was hurt this way. What a lot of bullshit. So that's the legal fiction world. Everything is possible. Any idiot can bring a claim against you, and because they presume that you're a thing, you're a child, you're a lunatic, and you're incompetent, and the bar guilds of people, they know everything about the law and you know nothing, they're going to do what they're going to do on you. So that's the game. But the truth and the fact is this: I've been to these venues, and these people, they're not smart, they're idiots. What they do is hide things. So this is the entire game. Now, what's your name? Oh, run away. If you ask them for a banana, they give you an orange. You ask for an orange, they give you a lemon. You ask them for a lemon, they give you a book. That's what they're doing. Okay, you ask for a book, they give you a bird. You see, that's what it is. It's a stupid little childish game, but there's no law in there. So don't be doing stupid contracts. Make sure you hold a public servant accountable for their actions, right? Because that's what they are. The public servants. You're going to serve me. I'm not going to serve you. If you don't like your job, leave it. Nobody told you to be a public servant. If I was a public servant, I'd do the best for my ability to make sure my community is okay. That's what I would do. If I was a police constable, I'd make sure my community is okay. I wouldn't go around destroying my own community. You see, it's nonsense. So for the people, because we deal with people, we don't deal with corporations. We deal with them, but not in that level. It's about people connecting and waking up and sharing information so that the public servant who has been, who works for a private corporation cannot abuse you anymore or abuse their position anymore to your detriment, to your financial detriment. Because what they're trying to do is to keep everyone as a dead slave by inventing crimes that don't exist. That if you breathe like this, it's a criminal act. If you walk this way, it's a criminal act. If you drive this, it's a criminal act. So everything has been criminal. So everybody's walking around like, oh, scared. There's cameras everywhere, and everyone's walking around like, see, guys, wake up, man. Enjoy yourself. Don't be afraid of these people. Don't be afraid of the cameras. It's about you and the fear in you. It's a Freddy Krueger thing. The more fearful you are, the bigger it becomes. As soon as you lose your fear, the public servant vanishes. You see? Because everything is in your mind. Most of the time we create our fears ourselves. The saying says I've experienced the most tragic things in my life. Most of them in my mind. Because most stuff is not real. You just imagine things. Everything on this plane is neutral. You take to view it from your perspective, depending on your training and your conditioning. So when I see a public servant, I see a public servant. Or some people, when they see these people, they think they're gods, or they're something else that they're not. No, we are all equal. We might not be the same, but we are all equal under the law. That's what it is. Okay? So that's crime. And then the last one is the valid cause, which was the reason why somebody would bring a claim against you. So valid cause has got three elements also. If any of those elements is missing, the cause is not valid. Right? So number one is violation of a legal right. So there has to be an allegation that you violated a legal right. So that's why they're going to use their statutes. They're going to quote whatever act to qualify as a first element. Right? Number two, there has to be an injured party. Same again. And number three, redress ability by the venue. So that's what it's called. So if they take their claim to a magician's court, for instance, doesn't have redress ability. against a living man, that's the wrong venue. Same as a county court.
Wrong venue.
You see, if they bring a claim against you in a county court, you don't get into the issue of the fact of the case. You inform the court that that is the wrong venue, doesn't have the jurisdiction over the living man or woman.
Yeah.
Boom. Same with the magician. You see. So the cause is invalid because the third element is lacking. The claimant has filed the claim in the wrong venue. You see. So that's valid cause. Now, the more important thing is this. Every time you do valid cause, you have to draft a statement and you have to put your signature on it to authenticate that it's true, and that's the only way you can do it. And then you take it to the court and they file it. But at any time, anyone can go and ask for it according to the court record and say, can I have a copy of this case, the valid cause, or the original instrument. And then you look at it and you're going to see what the complaint was and who signed for it. If it's not signed, it's not valid. We never sign the documents because their codes are never valid. So we don't get involved into discussions of what the claim is. We ask the court, did the claimant file valid cause? If they didn't, then they have to strike out the case. If they did, let me see it. You're never ever going to see it. Because they never do it. All right? Especially do with charges. You see. Because which crown servant, crown prosecution servant, remember that, is services, commerce, right? They're offering you prosecution services. They're offering you to pay them to prosecute you as a service. You see. So when these morons from the prosecution service go and fill an information, they never sign it because they have no first-hand knowledge of the information. The only one that can put in a claim is someone who's got first-hand knowledge of the information. A crown servant's got fourth-hand knowledge. But he gets his crap from the police, who get that crap from somebody else, who gets that crap from somebody else. So, that's a kill as well, you see. So did the claimant file valid cause? That's it. So that's all we deal with. We deal with charges, crime, and did the claimant file valid cause? And they're finished. The game is over, right? So we have some solutions, and the solutions it's just disclosure and discovery. That's what we use all the time. So if you're claiming you're gonna, for instance, you're gonna tax me, I say, okay, cool, fine. I need proof of claim that you're a crown servant, for instance, a crown agent, that you work for the Crown Corporation. That's the only way you can tax me.
Yeah.
If you're not prove that, I'm not going to pay any tax because I know who you are. And that's the end of the story. So that's about disclosure. So that's all you have to do. Never get involved in the matter of the case. Make sure you establish your status first of all, and their status. So your status is a living man or woman. Their status is who? The prosecution service or whoever they are. But what you want to deal with is an individual, man or woman, who works in the corporation. So when you write your letters, you don't write the name of the corporation. You get the name of an agent who's actually dealing with the case. Yeah. So it's James Smith as a man. So you write to the man or the woman directly. If you write to a corporation, as we've spoken before, it's different jurisdictions. It's inequality of status in law. Because man has higher status in law than a corporation. Because man is living and the corporation is dead. It's a corpse. That's why it's called corpse. Core, C-O-R-P. That's core in English, is body, French is in body. C-O-R-P-S-E is corpse. And C-O-R-P-O-R-R-S, it's a derivation from the same word, corporation. It's maybe something, it's dead, right? A man is alive. So the dead thing is underneath you. So in the scale of authority, God created man. So what is up there? Then man created corporation, government, you see, and that's the status. It's inequality of status in law. So when they write to you, they can only write to the nom de Dieu, the Mr., the all caps, capital maximum name all the time, because they're corporations, you see. They're trying to put you down there. We need to accept that you're a corporation as well. That's the trouble. You need to let them know that I'm a living man, I'm up here. If you're going to deal with me, you have to get someone, another living man in your corporation to write to me here, so we can deal on the same level. That's the entire game. They can never do that. As soon as you establish your status, they're out and they're gone. Okay? So discovery, always use that, discovery business, and disclosure. So if you're going to proceed against me, I need to know 1, 2, 3, 4 things. If you're unable to show me these things, then your claim cannot be sustained. And that's about it. So you do all these things before it goes into court, you see. So you write your letters before you go into court. If they ever drag you to the fake court, then you produce your letters and say, look, I am willing to settle. I've been trying to settle this idiot for the last 3 months. I've written to the fool about 4 or 5 letters. He hasn't responded to me. So I'm not dealing with these issues anymore. Okay, I've dealt with it. By that time, you've closed it. You've drafted your contracts, and you've said to them, if you don't give the information within so many days, I am going to consider that you abandon your claim, and if you bring this claim to court, I am going to rely on this document. Boom, done. And when you go to court, you're going to produce a document you're going to rely on and say, listen, I told the idiot I'm going to rely on this document, Your Honor. There you go, I'm relying on this document. He's got no right. And then you put it in your paperwork. You see, that's how you deal with it. Don't get involved bogged down in truth and facts. It's all bullshit. It's nonsense. Okay? So, the information. Okay, Crown Proceedings Act. I think we all know this by now. It's the 1947 one. Use that all the time. So, Crown Proceedings Act, that's when their immunity was removed. You see, because before they said the Crown servants had immunity against prosecution. So Crown Proceedings Act removed it in 1947 and provided that in civil proceedings in which the Crown was a party, the Crown could be required, it's a requirement, to make discovery of documents. This is what we ask them all the time. Please make discovery of this document, 1, 2, 3, 4 documents, you see, or of this information. Give me, of whether or not you are, whether or not this claim is a civil claim or a criminal claim, you see, do it that way, okay? So, I'm going to give you a few other numbers to use. This is that's subsection 1. And this gives this. The requirement that most often arise in civil action is the necessity for the police to inform, right? Inform a person upon arrest of the fact and of the grounds, right? They have to do that. They have to inform you of the facts and of the grounds for the arrest, either at the time of the arrest or as soon as practicable afterwards. And we ask them all the time, why are you arresting me? Why you cannot do this, that, and the other? And they never give us that information. We're just going to stick you in the van and we're going to take you somewhere. That's all. But he says in our rule, that's page 28, that they have to inform you, right? Also, you can also use the provision enact the common law requirement as set out in Christie v. Lichinsky. That's a case to use as well, to do with that subject. It's Christie v. Lichinsky. It's Leachinsky, and that's 1947. So that's a good one to use as well, right? Should we? Oh gosh, should I just jump into? I have a whole bunch of stuff, but I'm thinking, what's our time like? How are we doing for time? Because I want to show you. I have some evidence. I want to show you that these people are idiots. In fact, should I just do that straight away?
Yeah, show them on the quick.
Let me show you. I'm going to read some stuff from morons, bunch of idiots. What should I start? I have so many statements. Well, my situation is this. These idiots came to my house a few years back, trespassed, came to my house, made some false allegations. They took me down to the station, kept me there for 10 hours. When I came back, my flat was trashed, my property gone. So I wrote the chief conman and say, this is what happened. They took this, a whole list of what they took, and what's going on. Under what law and under what jurisdiction did they do this? He just ignored me. This went on for about 5-6 months. I got fed up. I put a claim in the High Court. I thought these people had some brains, they had some honor. We went to the High Court, and they come up with a story, oh yeah, I'm being investigated for a criminal offense. There's a warrant. The barrister produces a warrant in court. I've never seen this before. For the police, oh, there's a warrant for his arrest or something. The criminal case against him, so Malaki. Yeah, Malaki is an idiot. So could my case be stayed until the criminal matter is resolved? That's how they beat me in the High Court, because criminal matters take precedence over civil matters. Mine was a civil claim against the chief conman. Their one is that I'm a criminal. I'm the most dangerous criminal in West Yorkshire, by the way. They put my picture on the Crime Stoppers. Right, me. I'm the most dangerous criminal in West Yorkshire. One of the most dangerous criminal. Because this is what I do. And I shame them. I said, you can do that. I don't live off reputation. I don't care what you say about me. People who know what I do, they don't know the criminal. So you can put whatever you're going to put up. There's nonsense anyway. That's your legal fiction world. I'm going to stay in the real world. So we've gone through a whole bunch of stuff. The reason I'm going to that extent is to explain my first statement that I had. So this is the idiot who initiated the first arrest. So from the first arrest, I've been fighting with these idiots for almost 4 years now. They bring their shit, we go back and forth, and we go back and forth, and we go back and forth. Now it's my property, they still have it. And they're talking about they don't have some of it, and some of it is missing, or some of it's controversy over some of it, and some of it has been destroyed as well, you see. But I don't know why they've destroyed it, or why they've taken it. They've never used it in any proceedings, you see. So the guy who arrested me, I didn't know this. They say, we're going to arrest you because you threatened someone. They come and grab me, put me in a cell. I came to find out later on that he put me in a cell under GBH. That's what it was, the initial arrest. So they put me under GBH, and so I'm going to read just a little bit from his statement. So I'm suing him now in the High Court, and there's disclosure now. So I've said I want a statement from all these corporates who've done this, and he's written his statement. So this was his defense at the initial arrest. So I'm just going to get a small part of it. I mean, we'll be laughing here all day anyways. If we start with this shit,
yeah,
we'll be here all day.
Ridiculous.
So I'm going to cut down, and when we have more time, we'll go through all of them, because I have about 17 statements on this fool. We'll do only 3 today, right? So this is a fool, this is an idiot. Serving, we won't put his picture yet, because we're still dealing with them, right? We're still dealing with them. I'm saying, please give back my property. Please give back my property. If they don't, I'm going to put the pictures online so you can see what they look like. So if they ever approach you, you can say, I saw your ass on YouTube, you're a con man, you're not a real police officer, piss off. That's how you're going to deal with these idiots, okay? But we're going to give them some opportunity to act honorably. So I'm not going to put his name out yet. I'm not going to put his picture out yet, but we will in time. We have all their pictures, most of the pictures, we have all their names, and we're dealing with them properly. Okay, right, so this is it. So I was present, this is what he says, when I'm suing him in his defense. In his statement, I was present when Troy was booked into the custody suite, and his detention was authorized by Police Sergeant, I'll leave his name out now for the time being, but we'll put him out, right? I explained to the custody sergeant that the circumstance of the case, right, which came to my house, and I've been harassing people, and he's taking me down the station to be booked, because I've been harassing people, right? So I explained the circumstance of the case. Now he said, originally, I believe that the claimant was booked in on suspicion of having committed a Section 2 harassment. Now this is the arresting officer. How can he think anything? He's the one who's bringing me in and telling the custody sergeant, this guy's been arresting people, put him in for harassment or whatever. So he said, I believe that the claimant was booked in on suspicion of having committed a Section 2 harassment, although I am not entirely certain. You see that? You see that?
The home office was
Right?
killing him there.
Okay.
That's on his statement.
I'm not entirely certain. That's not the end of it. That's not the end of it. If this did occur, then it was a mistake by PC. He gives the other name. As I believe he must have misheard me when I was explaining what he had been arrested for. Right? So this is how my case began. And it took 4 years to sort this shit out. And I'm still sorting it out. So when he arrested me initially, he wasn't sure what he was doing, but he told this PC one thing, I was booking something else. I have his statement, so he can't even back down on this, you see. Okay? What else did I say? As I believe, he must have misheard me when I was explaining what he had been arrested for. This came to light when a police officer, who I do not recall, said to me that you could not have a Section 18 wounding, stroke GBH offense paired with a standard harassment. I agreed and realized that the wrong offense had been noted. Right? I therefore brought this to the attention of the custody sergeant so it could be corrected to harassment with fear of violence. Right.
1.13.
So that's number one. I'm being arrested because I apparently I arrested somebody. I harassed someone. I'm being taken to custody sergeant, being put in a cell. My property is being taken, my house trashed because this guy made a mistake. And he put a GBH on their system.
Home office calls.
You see, so that's just number one. Second of all, I want to show you something else. I want even get
This gets better.
This is sweet. Let me get to his oath.
This gets better.
What is his oath? Shit. If I do a PowerPoint, when you do a PowerPoint presentation, I'm going to put it in a PowerPoint so we can actually see it properly. But I haven't. There's a section where I'm looking for a section where. Because every time they come to me, I have an affidavit that I always walk around with me. So when these idiots come up, the first thing is, I have an oath. Okay, this is my oath. Boom, and I give them the affidavit. And then they take it, they read it, oh, they don't get most of it, and that's how I deal with them. It's true affidavit. So when he came to my house, I saw him with the affidavit. In his statements, because I have what I mind to get after all, I got his statement, which is here, then I got his notebook as well. And that's the contradiction there. In the statement, he says, I never ever served him anything. In his notebook entry, he says right there that I asked him for his oath, you see. So I have those both. But what I want you to see is, here, custody. There's one which is common law, because it's very pertinent to what we're talking about. With one idiot, this horrible, nasty bitch, she is nasty, stinky ass. If you see the most scummy woman I've ever met, right? She is a custody sergeant, right? And I can't find a statement. You see, anyway, I have it. Is it here? This one.
No, I did the home office code. Because realistically, now you've got the home office code, you can just kill him because this understatement abuse of position.
Okay.
They mess up all the time.
This is sweet. This is another one. So the other one, I won't even go further. The first arrest, that's obviously I have about it's 11 pages of his statement. And this one's another one. This is a custody sergeant, right? So, I won't give a name yet, but I'd love to give a name. I'm going to give out the name. I have a full name and a number. What if they don't return my property? I'm going to give them 2 weeks. All this stuff is going to go out, right? They're going to know who they are and how they're doing it. So, this one says, I spoke to the claimant. That's me. I recall he came across as being educated. I'm not educated. I'm enlightened, but anyway, educated. But he was obstructing. That's the word they use all the time, obstructing, right? Why he was not aggressive in any way, he did not want to assist me with any question that I put to him. Why would he assist you, stupid?
No contract.
Anyway, and I recall he would regularly answer my questions with a question of his own. That's
That's what it should be
yeah.
doing.
How can I be obstructive? I'm trying to gain information. I'm trying to find out who you are. I'm not being obstructive, right? Of his own. The claimant had a file or a large amount of paperwork with him. It's not a file. It's not a large amount of paperwork. I had my affidavit with me. I walk around with it all the time, right? And I recall he gave me something to read. It's not something, the affidavit. I do not recall exactly what it was that he gave me. This is a custody sergeant, right? Other than it was some form of document that he had that appeared to have created himself. Of course I created this myself. This is how stupid these people are. This is how thick these people are. They believe that you, as a man, you cannot write your own affidavit. So that's, the stupid people said that. It looked like something I created myself. I said, of course I created it. It's my signature. It's my picture on it. This is my truth. Yeah, I created it. It looked like something I created himself. The claimant was stating that he was serving me with a copy of that paperwork. Of course. That's what I'm saying. I'm serving you with my affidavit. I'm serving you. That's the wording. So I'm not claiming I'm serving you. I am serving you, right? I took the paperwork from him and placed it in a tray for the chief superintendent, right? Which means they've accepted service.
Yeah.
But I'm going to, in the next one, I'm going to explain to you what the role of a custody sergeant is. Because it's here. There's one of them who put their roles out, you see. Now, sweet part. The claimant asked what powers I was acting under in order to detain him. That's me asking her. Or what law, what authority, what power do you have to bring me to your place of business for me to deal with this nonsense? Okay? I explained to him that he'd been arrested on suspicion of breaching a non-molestation order. This was the third arrest. They've tried 7 stuff on me. This was non-molestation order. Apparently I've been molesting people. But when I looked at the paperwork, he said domestic molestation. At that point I lived alone. So I put them up on that. I said, could you explain this? How is it domestic molestation I live alone? This one disappeared. This vanished.
Yeah,
I never
all of
heard
them
from it again.
vanished.
All the claims they brought against me vanished. There's only the first one, the one which stuck me to harassment without fear. So the harassment with fear vanished, molestation vanished, about 3 bail, police bail, breach of police bail, vanished, a whole bunch of stuff, but this was the molestation. So I explained to him that he had been arrested on suspicion of breaching a non-molestation order and that his detention was necessary to prevent his disappearance. How am I going to disappear?
You cannot disappear.
And to allow for the prompt and effective investigation. I do not know. Oh, okay, here we go. He claimed common law jurisdiction, right? And the woman said, I did not know, nor do I know what the claimant was on about. That's the wording. That's the wording. I don't know what he was on about. So this is an idiot. I'm going to call it. Sorry, but I have to swear because I can see her face now. This is personal to me, so I can swear if I want to. Normally, I'm very casual with other people's cases, but this is personal to me because I can see her face. She said to me, she doesn't know what I'm talking about. So how, if you don't know that England and Wales is common law jurisdiction, and if I'm saying to you that I wish to claim common law jurisdiction in these proceedings, and you, a custody surgeon, is telling me I don't know what you're talking about, who the hell is going to know what I'm talking about?
I've got it on recording, that's old law.
What do you mean?
That's what they turn around and say, that's old law.
Common law is old law.
Yeah, when I throw common law then, and under the oath of law, that's old law.
Old.
I've got it all on recording.
That's old like in
That's
old.
way down.
That's what I told you about contract. Yeah, you're right. No, you're right.
The nutcases,
Right. In any case, the point I'm going to make is this.
It's old law.
The point I'm going to make is this, that do not believe that these idiots know anything about the law. Do not trust them. You need to find out what the law is
So,
yourself.
much new law.
So once you know the law yourself, then they cannot talk this nonsense to you, because I know the common law, I know statutory law, and I know commercial law as well. So when I said to her, in this particular proceedings, I wish to claim common law, I know that you have two roles, Mr. Officer. You have common law, where you derive your rights from, and you also have statutory, which is discretionary. So for this one, I don't want to be treated under pace all this nonsense. I want you to respect the oath that you took, because I'm going to claim common law jurisdiction. And I say to you, I don't know what he was on about, right? So that's a custody surgeon. Now the role of a custody surgeon is very, very defined. It's a sweet one. I have 16 of these idiots, so I mean, we can carry on all night with this one. Let me just pick another one. Right, this is how I deal with them. Okay, this is another idiot. I recall that the booking process, the booking process took some time due to the claimant repeatedly asking questions of me and refusing to answer my questions. Of course I'm not going to answer their questions.
No,
You're the public servant, you can answer my questions first before I start dealing with you. So she's upset. I was assisted in, what's this? Yeah. The claimant has refused to answer any of these questions. I have completed a risk assessment, right? I have clearly noted that the claimant refuses to answer my questions and that he is calm and compliant. I have therefore completed a care plan based upon my observations. End of the claimant. So what they did was, oh gosh, if I can find it, sorry guys, but there's another one said that what I was talking about was intellectual garbage, Magna Carta in the common law, intellectual garbage, okay? It was a sign of mental illness. They called a doctor for me, and the doctor came in, and they tried to, because I'm talking law, it's a sign of mental illness. This is how stupid these ignorant people are.
And of course, he wasn't qualified to make that assumption in the first place.
Yeah, I said, we said, what qualifies you as a policy enforcer? You have some medical degree somewhere, you can see someone, oh, he's mentally ill, just like that. I mean, how are you doing it? She must be very special. But that's the kind of nonsense that these people come up with, you see. So she's saying that because I'm talking about Magna Carta and common law, that's intellectual garbage, you see. It's just that it's so much, if I can find it, but we're going to put it out anyway, so that's one of many. The point being that these idiots do not trust that they know what they're doing because they don't know what they're doing. You have to research the law yourself. But once you know the law, then you're comfortable. But don't trust that somebody else is going to give you legal advice, because they won't. You see, we don't give legal advice. This is not legal advice. What we do is we tell you what's real. If you want legal advice, you go to, what do you call it? Legal fiction character, called a solicitor. He's an idiot like the rest of them. He's going to lie to you and take your money. That's legal advice. We deal with realness, and we deal with commerce. Okay? So, I mean, I have 16 statements. Obviously, we're not going to go through all of them. When we do the next PowerPoint, I'm going to put them on PowerPoint so you can see. You can see. But the common law doesn't work anymore. I have an idiot here who broke my door. I have his picture, so I'm going to show this picture. He's a fool. So he knows what's up anyway. This is the idiot. That's the fool. Here. That's the affidavit I'm serving him. And if you see behind him, in my house, I have a picture of the Queen and an agreement underneath it. Talking about common law. This is common law jurisdiction. If you come in here, it's going to cost you so much money. It doesn't stop them. They still come in and block the door. You see. So they have no respect for anyone or any law, and I don't know what the hell they're doing. You see. So when you're dealing with this fool, be very careful. Do not get into any pretensive joinder. Yeah. We have the specific questions that we ask them. Number one, are you acting under oath? Yes or no? Yeah. It's yes. I'm not being detained. Yes or no?
You don't answer that.
Well then, where's gonna go?
Just look down to the ground.
Well, you repeat the question again, I'm not being
Just
detained.
switch off.
I'm not being detained.
They don't answer.
Okay, goodbye then.
They don't
See, I'm gone. Why am I standing there talking to you? See, so, am I being detained? It's a yes or no answer, Mr. Officer. Am I being detained? Yes or no? If it's yes, under what law? If by what authority are you detaining me? Now you start again.
And then you mention common law, they're not a clue.
They have no clue what they're doing. What I'm saying, you're not going to get any answer from this. We've narrowed it down to 5 questions. You don't need to say anything else. 5 questions only.
Yeah.
They won't go beyond number 3. So which means you're never going to create this pretensive joinder.
And then
The
you
point
can
is
do-
this: if you start arguing with them and talking with them, you're creating joinder. So you say nothing else. In fact,
All I say, right, is I'm under arrest. And if they say no, I say under Rice versus Connolly, 1966.
Yeah, that's case law.
Put in that car and go.
the Rice versus Connolly is good as well.
It's as simple as that.
It is,
Rice-
that's all,
Teach
that's
everybody to do that.
That's what I said, Rice versus Connolly.
Yeah, when I
That's
pull
it.
you for a tyre, am I under arrest? Is that an arrestable offence? No.
No, it's not.
Is
No
my car
contract.
MOT? No. Is that an arrestable offence? No. Rice versus Connolly.
Get out. That's it, no
They've
contract.
gone.
So it means
End of.
the Rice versus Connolly
You know,
is that the fact
I mentioned it
that
earlier.
It's in the wrong
guys,
box.
stop. We're gonna wrap this up.
Yeah.
Rice versus Connolly is the fact that the police cannot stop you just to ascertain your identity. So they cannot stop you and ask who you are. You see, you don't have to tell them anything. The only thing is if you breach the peace, if you murder someone, I don't care what your name is, right? Take you to court and ask you what's your name, and you say Roger Rabbit. It doesn't matter. You're going to jail anyway because you kill someone. So what's all his name and date of birth and there's not a contract. So that's what it is. If you commit a crime, it doesn't matter what your name is, it doesn't matter where you live or what your date of birth is. Those 3 things that create joinder. When you go to magicians, what's your name, date of birth, and address? So they claim your body, mind, and soul. That's what they're claiming. That's all. So you need to protect that stuff. Okay? So it's all commerce. I'm going to wrap that down and I'm going to do a quick Q&A if possible. And yeah, so that's my thing for today. I think next time I'm going to prepare the statements. We're going to put them on PowerPoint. We have about 16 statements from these idiots admitting to all kinds of things. And you're going to see that they have no authority. They have no honor, right? These are criminals dressed in school uniforms with luminous jackets, weapons of destruction and death, going around threatening people, and they use force and duress to achieve their aim. That is it. The point is that people need not to fear these fools anymore. Face up to them and ask them by what authority, okay? What authority are you acting right now? Because you have no authority over me, the living man, unless I breach the peace, okay? So thanks very much, guys, for coming. If you have any questions,